Дорогие участники, мы
Dear participants, we are glad to welcome you at the International Mentoring Session Women in STEM. My name is Alexandra Rybych. I am head of Women's Community of Rosatom and member of Eurasian Council for Women's Forum under the Council of the Federation, and we continue our series of events organized with support of the state corporation Rosatom to speak about women's leadership in high-tech sectors in various aspects. We understand implementing various projects in improving the level of knowledge among women and motivation for young specialists to build career tracks and select this path consciously and actually destroy the barriers and stereotypes that really exist. But this is not bad news. These are the challenges that we, together with our international colleagues in the ecosystem of interaction with educational institutions and the institutes of civil society and large businesses, we will definitely tackle. In Russia, we have the National Strategy for Actions in the Interests of Women with activities up to 2030. It means that systemic work is underway in the interests of women. Of course, digital economy, sustainable development of technologies, and the necessity to involve young people into engineering and tech specializations. In our mentoring session, we will touch upon this particular aspect especially. We are happy to welcome our young participants from Sirius in this session who are visiting this mentoring session, our international partners. And I would like to stress that we have a very inspiring panel today of real leading women. I do not like this term, women leaders, but actually these are women with unique experience, and with their role model, they show that in high tech has female face. We will get back to statistics a bit later. We will tell you about our research we conducted among students in technical universities. And I would like to introduce to you our first speaker, Yulia Uzhakina, Director General of Corporate Academy of Rosatom. We know. Well, first of all, Corporate Academy of Rosatom is implementing a lot of initiatives in the interests of women. But I also know that, Yulia, you, in philosophy of women's leadership, you are very much into it, and it coincides with your personal position. Could you please share your vision, your welcoming opening remarks, please? Thank you very much. Esteemed friends, esteemed female friends, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm very happy to welcome you here at this session. Yes, Rosatom is doing a lot to support women who work in this area, in this industry, and I should say that we see first positive results. Our community, female nuclear community, is growing every day. It's not because we are weak and we should stay together, but we have a lot to share and support each other and inspire each other and look at how others tackle their challenges. That's number one. Number two, we see more children in the cities of presence of Rosatom who pass exams in physics and maths, and more girls are now passing such exams, and I'm very happy about that. And by the way, psychologists proved that girls are better in exams in physics than boys, and I'm very happy about this fact. In Rosatom, we show very good indicators against other global nuclear corporations in the number of women who take leading positions in the company and in the engineering specialties professions. But I also want to stress the importance of such meetings to share experience, to know how others tackle their tasks of development and balancing life and personal life and work. This is very valuable. You know, a woman inspired me, influenced me very much. I'm so thankful to her. She doesn't know she impacted me so much. A small girl, Julia, in the Moscow State University, listening to her lectures in physics, and she inspired me so much with her role. She was a professor, Yulia Vadimovna Yunakovskaya, and I will remember her to the end of my life. She looked brilliant. She felt so confident, but she was not arrogant at the same time. And she was so kind, but quite strict. And there was a phrase she articulated. It was not about me, but I remember it and will remember all my life. One of my co-students, she missed a lot of lectures. I know, you know, there are a lot of students like that. And the professor told her, Sveta, if you do not learn things, you are not be interesting for your children. So it was a phrase addressed not to me, but I remember it until today. It is still guiding me. And such women who, with their look in their eyes and their appearance that support us are very important. And I'm happy that we see schoolgirls, young girls here in this room, and I hope that recommendations articulated by the speakers today will be useful for you, and probably we will impact you, and you will become more confident in something. I'm a classic example of a STEM woman because in my background I'm a geophysicist. I selected this profession because in my family I have mathematicians and specialists in physics, and of course I wanted to be part of this great industry. But my life is in developing people now. Nevertheless, however, the feeling of this trust towards knowledge and the idea that women should have good education and be expert in sciences and do what she wants, I think this is very important. Without further ado, you know, probably I talk too much. I'm very interested in what our panelists want to say. I am very inspired by good cases myself. So it's not the thing who is an influential person in your life, whether it's man or woman. It doesn't matter. You should be open to what others say and what you see, and just put it into your mind and take something that supports you, absorb such ideas. So today it's a female panel, but in mentoring session I think we can have a man who can recommend us something valuable, because we can speak a lot about whether we are different from men or not. But looking at my experience, I want to say that we can discuss this a lot. Anyway, women have a role she should perform to give birth to children and think about their upbringing and not losing yourself and balance this unique role, not forgetting that we should be strong persons, inspired persons. So best of luck in this, and let's go to mentoring now. Julia, thank you very much. I think all participants now really feel how our nice room is getting filled with the atmosphere of inspiration, of interesting recommendations from our esteemed speakers. So those who are watching us online, I hope you also feel it. We always say that women's agenda and our previous session on women's leadership should not stay among women only. I take your point, saying that we should have a man in this panel. But we have in Rosatom now the first male ambassador in Kyrgyzstan, and we're very happy about it. I think that this is a very good starting point, a new opportunity. Ambassadors for policy of equal opportunities, inclusivity will also involve the ambassadors among men. That's important. The next speaker, a very good friend of our female community of Rosatom, Bahire Gül, Notec Energy Consulting Director, President of a large Turkish female nuclear association, member of our International Council for Support of Development of Women in Industry and Technologies. So these are the main, some of the titles of Gül. I articulated. We arranged a lot of events for students with the assistance of Gül. So Gül, a question to you. Why is it so important today to involve women into STEM? Yes, you need the microphone for interpretation. Thank you.
Because when I sit, I cannot see my screen. Hello, dear colleagues. It's a really great pleasure for me to be with you once again and with these wonderful ladies. I cannot tell you how happy I am because probably I'm the oldest one of you and who spent all your life in nuclear. And now it gives me great pleasure to trying to transfer my knowledge and trying to inspire young people in this wonderful world. Anyway, thanks very much to our organizers, Alexandra, Sona, Nita, and many wonderful ladies and directors of Rosatom. Well, my talk. Well, okay. Well, I have two titles to address you here. As a president of Women in Nuclear Turkey and also as a consultant and leader of the Notec Energy. Well, talking about nuclear energy is always something very exciting for me, no matter where I speak or no matter to whom I address, and because it is difficult talking about nuclear energy, huge, big technology. At the same time, it is enjoyable and it's very challenging. Well, I will start. I'll have to press harder. I'll start with my two arguments that I repeat on several occasions. Female empowerment organizations benefit everybody in the world, not in the countries, not locally. And without women in science and high technology taking part in decision-making process in their country, society is incomplete. Well, I can talk about nuclear energy for several hours. I won't do that, of course. I know I have very limited time, so I'll talk very fast. I can enjoy talking about the charm of nuclear energy because for me it's a charming, but for people in newcomers it's scaring, whatever it is. I can talk about world of atoms, but I will scan evolution of story of nuclear technology. Of course, with only a few sentences, starting from the discovery of radioactivity. Some of my dear colleagues mentioned already, with Madame Curie, discovery of radioactivity, world has gone into a new phase. And now I come to the Akkuyu nuclear power plant, which is very important for Turkey. Sorry about this. How fast I came. Okay. I started with the radioactivity of discovery of radioactivity, but evolution of nuclear power technology is really great. It starts from the 1950s, first nuclear power plant in Obninsk, you all know, and the world is developing after the weapons test, a new era in the world for peaceful uses of nuclear energy, and producing great big energy from nuclear reactors, and several stages, 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and various stages. Here we come to year 2000, 2010, and Akkuyu, looking at this, the development stages, generation 1, classical ones, and etc. We have generation 3, and you will probably see in the corridors of the Atom Expo, generation 4 and the further one. It is very, very well developing technology. Well, in the year 2024, what I can say to young people about nuclear energy, it is the most advanced, most mysterious at the same time for some people, most powerful and most attractive multi-science, technology, mathematics, engineering, all combined fields in the world. What I always say, being a woman is a privilege because we are productive, we are family, we are mothers, we are friends, and you know, I don't have to tell you the qualities of women. It's a privilege to be a woman, but I say to my colleagues, it's a privilege to be a woman working in this field of nuclear energy. It gives us further qualities and responsibilities. If you scan what is the nuclear power situation in the world, there are more than 400 nuclear reactors operating, which 290 gigawatt electricity. They are supplying 10% of world electricity demand. And 660 new reactors are under construction. There are more than hundreds are planned. Perhaps it will be more after the World Climate Summits. Nuclear, again, once again, in the world scene with positive aspects of the energy. I usually talk about electricity generation because I'm a nuclear reactor engineer, but there are more points to count to talk about the charm of nuclear energy. It is the nuclear applications. It's the use in the nuclear techniques and radioisotopes in medicine for diagnosis, therapy, and sterilization, food and agriculture, industry and research, water resource management. We did a lot of research in Turkey in the past. The use of tracers and dating are also well developing huge big areas. So, what it means being a woman in nuclear for a young person or for us? Being educated in the field of nuclear energy, which is one of the, as I repeat, most prominent, most interesting, most critical, and most mysterious subjects in the world. And what is being the discipline in the high-level scientific research, development, and education? It's at the same time, it is being able to work in emission-free, clean energy production sector, nuclear applications in medicine, agriculture, and industry. It is being able to have a saying in the most important current high-level socio-political issues. World, now we are population reaching more than 8 billions. I say that we human beings are locked in a prison of triangle. In corners, energy, environment, and economics. We are locked into this triangle. So we'll have to find a solution, and clean energy is one of them. But when I'm being in a nuclear field, we always have a chance to talk on the very high-level socio-economic, socio-political issues. This is what I mean, at the most critical and intersection of energy, environment, economy, matters of the world. Being a woman in nuclear field, we have such different and special qualities. We have intelligence, of course, and many others. I cannot repeat it here. But let's not forget that so much quality means so much responsibility, starting from the early ages. So girls, it's a fantastic field to be in it, but it gives you so much points to be proud of, also so much responsibilities. As a woman in Turkey, we started a STEM project because how I started this field, I will speak briefly. It's a four-clover model. You see four-clover model. It's in Turkish, yonca. And four-clover is in all the society, in all the culture have similar meaning. It means love, faith. It should be. Let me start this again. It's not moving. And I resemble this science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So it's a huge, big project we launched in Turkey, and I am hoping that some big companies will take responsibility for funding to encourage girls to be in this field. So how I started being a nuclear engineering, I started from the school. Some slides are left already. I was so interested in science fields, mathematics and biology in particular. Then I was given some special training in summer school. That's why I keep emphasizing that training for young girls are very important, summer schools and some supports. From TÜBİTAK Scientific Council meeting. During the summer, we had some lectures from the university professors. It was very exciting to meet with the wonderful university professors. Then we were taken to visit some important places. Çekmece Nuclear Research Center in Istanbul was the one, and I always tell this story. This is it's an open pool type research reactor. There's a similar one in South Africa. I visited one. And when I saw this blue radiation, I fell in love with the nuclear energy and wonderful scientists around that. Then after that, I sent to United Kingdom to study nuclear energy. It was a very, very long path, starting from there on. Well, after being a student in Turkey, then governmental scholarship, big responsibility going to United Kingdom to study nuclear energy, atomic physics. Then I came back my home country, with the Turkish Atomic Energy, worked several years as a young research scientist, research assistant, administration manager, senior project manager. You can see that as I'm getting older, go slowly. Nothing was so easy. At the same time, I suggest you, I was an NGO leader. Why? Because there was a Chernobyl. People were so caring about everybody was getting cancer, but I was an environmentalist. I knew that. I knew the causes of cancer, but not the radioactivity. I was also so interested in protection of lakes and marine. There was a big international atomic energy agency regional project among 6 Black Sea countries. Turkey has the longest coast, Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, Russian Federation, and Georgia. And 6 countries, we worked on very hard regional project for 7 years. I was the coordinator. And during that, apart from my work, I started working with NGOs, although it was off the rule of governments. But I said, you know, sometimes I get very bad punishment. Sometimes, you know, it was an adventure. But I said it's my responsibility. I'm a nuclear scientist. I must tell people that they are cancer, but not for this reason. But in that area, there is another factor, etc. So it is taking a responsibility of being a woman in nuclear. So then comes being an activist, and there was a period that I was a diplomat in Vienna, reporting Turkey to activities of International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna. Then after my retirement from the government, I could not stop there because you are in nuclear. The world is changing. There are so many activities, and you love your career. So I carry on my work as a consultant, then as a president of the Nutek Energy, first and only local Turkish national nuclear energy consultant company. And of course, let's not forget, I was a mother at the time. I had my family responsibilities. So it is very large field and many responsibilities of being a woman. So what I suggest briefly, contemporary education, encouragement of young girls. very important in raising qualified people for nuclear technology, because nuclear technology is very important for the world, for the well-being of societies, for supplying clean energy source. If I had time, I would like to talk you much more longer about the climatic change. What are the consequences, what we see, and we all want to have longer lives, and we want to be in a safe world. And when I say environmental safety and climatic change, why I do so much work in this field? Because I'm trained in nuclear safety. Nuclear safety discipline is one of the most developed and most important area in the world, because safety, everybody wants safety in everywhere, and reduction of human error, and human reliability assessment of many safety fields are born from the nuclear technology. So strengthening women organizations and NGOs can do so much work for young girls, for inspiration. Civil initiative and voluntary work is very important, but one of the most important points is communication between women. It's at national level or international level. So here we are. I'm very happy that we have very good communication means. See, women in nuclear Turkey and women in nuclear Russia, we are much better communicating than most of the leaders, most of the men leaders in the world. We get together, we communicate, because we love people, we love our environment, and we love each other. So in that respect, I really believe in the power of women. So, of course, there are difficult times. As you know, world in this century, we were expecting, when I was younger, that in this period we were expecting much more peaceful and more beneficial world with better environment and better incomes for people and everything. Then this did not happen. Still, there are more than 1 billion people living without electricity. There are wars in many parts of the world. There are internal wars, and there are big economic recession. There are huge, big environmental problems. There are terrorism. I'm sorry that, I have my condolences what has happened in Moscow. We had the COVID and everything, economical strain, energy sources for some countries, and water shortages coming soon. It will affect all the world. So there are difficult times, difficult conditions all over the world, but nuclear energy is indispensable, and the future for young generation and for young girls to be in this sector is, if you ask me, very bright. So I congratulate all the ladies who are in the sector and who are inspiring the younger ones to be in the nuclear technology. Thank you for your attention.
Как на одном из слайдов было написано,
As one of the slides said, being a woman in nuclear industry. So Gül, thank you so much for your story. Thanks for sharing this. And I know that you are doing a lot in your country to motivate young women. You want them to come to work in nuclear industry, you interact with students, and that's the empathy of women in love with their profession, with what they do, because they have a tech background. So this experience must be shared with young people. Thank you. And our next speaker is Gulumkan Bikturova.
эксперт
She's an expert of the industrial policy. She is
Кыргызской
working in the Kyrgyzstan in President's administration. Gulumkan, I know that your path is closely connected to high tech. So could you share your experience?
сталкиваются.
How did you find yourself in this industry? What were the barriers? What were the solutions? Because I see that your position is quite impressive. So you obviously managed to overcome all the difficulties. Well, Alexander, thank you so much. Dear colleagues, dear participants, esteemed guests and speakers, I welcome you on behalf of women of Kyrgyzstan working in radiation safety and in nuclear industry. Kyrgyzstan have always supported women in different areas where men used to dominate, and this includes nuclear and radioactive safety and security. A couple of words about me. Well, I graduated from the university in Bishkek. That was humanitarian university. I'm environmental specialist. And then I went to the legal department in National Faculty in National University. Then I got master's degree, and I studied in the President's Academy in Kyrgyzstan. And in 2019, I won GDS contest. GDS, that's a Japanese scholarship program for young government officials. So I became a winner, and in 2019 through 2021, I was studying in Hiroshima University. So I got master's degree in environment. So now I am writing my thesis, and if you look at my path, I'm studying and working and studying, and the more I study, the more I think that I know so little and I need to learn so much. I used to be a young specialist, and in the last 2 years I was deputy director, then I was department director in Department of State Regulation in Environmental and Environmental Safety Department in the Ministry of Nature in Kyrgyzstan. And it's the regulatory authority that regulates safety and security in Kyrgyzstan. At the moment, I'm an expert in the President's administration of Kyrgyzstan, and I work with the Ministry of Natural Resources, with regulators, and I'm assistant coordinator, and I interact with liaison of International Agency of Atomic Energy, and all of this has not been easy. My path was thorny, and there were many men and women who didn't want me to advance, but I managed to overcome all the obstacles and improve my knowledge and acquire relevant experience, because I love what I do. I love my job, and I work hard. And before I do something, I think first, how can I be of help, of assistance? How can I be of use to anybody else or to this or that industry? And when I was studying in Japan, it was quite interesting. And Japan actually offered me several jobs, and I said no, because I chose to work in my own country. And this experience shows me that one should have pure thoughts, and one has to be honest in his actions. The rest will come. Of course, there are many dishonest people, jealous people, and they have always been there, and they always surround you. So no need to waste your time, because time is precious, and it's best not to waste your health, your time, your life on such people. So it's best if you focus on your work, on your family, children, your loved ones, because if you want to achieve something, if you want to be successful in your work, in your career, then no obstacle, no difficulties should stop you. And all of this should go away naturally. Something else that I wanted to share. We've just started working on
Грамотные женщины в сфере
our agenda
ядерной
quite recently, and we have already a lot of women working in nuclear chemistry, biology industries. We have men working in our organization too, and we have big plans ahead of us.
провести семинар.
We want to organize a seminar, and we want to attract international donors so that we can improve potential knowledge and experience of our women and men working in nuclear industry.
Сотрудничаем
We are interacting together with Rosatom, and we are developing nuclear medicine in Kyrgyzstan, and it actually helps diagnose and treat people with cancer.
надеюсь на наше плодотворное.
I really look forward to our fruitful cooperation, and I really hope that it will yield a lot of results, will do a lot of good and happiness to all of us. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, I think I already have several ideas for tags. Today we talk about women leadership, and you can approach it from different angles. There are different social roles for women. Be a leader, be a mother, be an inspiration, or a leader of the project, be a professional. It's all very interesting and exciting. We talk about competencies, and we say that it's paramount for professional development. We talk about our views, that it's the basics, and you just said that what you feel inside, harmony. I mean, apart from hard skills, it's very important to have soft skills, and that is communication, empathy, environmental communication, if you like, and soft skills. Well, they are very close to the life position or the philosophy that one should actually have. This is very valuable. And I'm sure you would agree that when we have a happy, strong family, when we're happy at home, we feel inspired and we want to work even more. So next speaker, Julia Vjesen. She is director of the Department of Organizational Development. So what is your career path, and what do young women need to build a career in high tech? Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to all the organizers for this opportunity to be here on the stage and see so many very beautiful faces, smiling faces. So, to follow up on what you just said, happy eyes, happy families. Tonight I'll be able to see happy eyes of my child. My daughter is here with me. Her name is Lisa. She's 7. And from the very beginning, she travels with me. Wherever I go, she goes. And actually, when she was born, well, 1 year before that, I was appointed a department director of the organizational development in a state-owned company. And actually, I was reporting to the director general directly, and I was in charge of the management system development in Rosatom. How our divisions work, how do they perform, what is the structure. And I was 33 years old, and I was part of the top managers team. And in the very beginning, I wasn't actually a nuclear specialist. And 14 years, that's the anniversary that I'll be soon celebrating. And in the beginning, I was in charge of individual projects, and then I was working hard. And I was doing a lot. I can say that my personal input was immense, and I was offered a job, and I was happy to accept it. And a few months later, I found out that I was pregnant. So that was the moment when I had to make a very difficult choice, because it's a stereotype. At a certain point in time, a woman must choose either career or you become a good mother. Because it is impossible to be both at the same time, spend hours on end and at work and travel and spend enough time with your child so that one could say that you're a good mother.
Я в этом
So
выборе
that was a stereotype I had to overcome.
хотела последовать
And in the very beginning, I wanted to follow this standard path and say, okay,
все-таки вот все, я
I mean, I'm old enough, so
я потом
I have to forget about my career. I'll come back later. But then I've come to understand that actually this choice, it's a choice that I don't need. No need for this choice, because there are opportunities and there are a lot of things to support me and people to support me so that I could be everything at the same time, a mother and a manager. So my daughter travels with me,
благодаря этому уже
and thanks to that, she is part of Rosatom because she knows what nuclear industry is, and she knows that this is the best industry possible. And it doesn't force a woman to make difficult decisions. So I think one thing that helped me a lot was the support that surrounded me.
просила
When I asked for help, and I asked my colleagues, well, any gender, doesn't matter, there was always someone who helped me, who shared their experience, who supported me, because when I just joined this industry 14 years ago, I knew nothing.
моя работа
And my job,
заниматься системой управления.
it was management system. My job was to actually,
Понимать, чем
I was supposed to be actually much better than everybody else. So I had to spend days and nights studying what the industry is about, what does it consist of, what are the processes, what it's based on, and all that. And I'm grateful to all members of the top management team because many people spent hours with me telling me some basics, educating me. They took me on a tour to show what the plant is like, what our entity function, how it functions. They gave me a lot of interesting books where I could learn more about the industry, the background, specifics, you name it. And at the same time, well, yes, sometimes, somehow, I saw people that they were snobbish when they said, "Who are you? What do you know? You're so young, you know nothing, you understand nothing," and all that. But very quickly, I managed to find common language with people thanks to several elements. Well, first of all, they saw that I never give up. Yes, I realized I didn't know everything, and I was scared in the beginning because it's scary to say out loud, I don't know. Some managers were testing me. They were asking difficult trick questions, and they watched my reaction. And I honestly said, no, I don't know this now, but I would love to know, and I'd be grateful if you helped me understand. Then ice was melting right in front of me, and these people were helping me. So thanks to that,
вовлечься.
I managed to be part of many processes, and I'm still successful, and I'm still being able to speak with professionals as equal. And at a certain point in time, I've come to understand I am a professional. That was an unbelievable feeling, very thrilling feeling, and I'm happy that I'm able to share this with you today. Julia, thank you so much. It's important to understand one thing. Nuclear industry today
открывает для молодежи
opens a lot of opportunities, not only in engineering, but everywhere, basically. It's a huge chunk of non-energy projects, non-energy application of technology, green technology. It's urban development because Rosatom is a big company. They care about cities and towns. And I thought about it because we have women living in different regions, and it's a whole ecosystem. So it's a dialogue. And actually, we've done a research. If you remember, I said that I'll get back to that, so here I am. we were talking to a group of students, second and third year students, and we spoke to them and we saw that there's a stereotype still alive that women have no idea what company should they go to. They've chosen something, for example, development in STEM. They know who they want to become, but no idea where they could do that. So here comes our mentoring sessions. It's group mentoring, and we had students online, and now they have a better understanding what it's like to be a woman in nuclear industry. So we showed them what is available to them, new career tracks, new opportunities outside STEM. So I would like to introduce, and I'm happy to introduce our next speaker, good friend of our community, Meena Singh, Managing Director of the Nuve company, India Limited. She's a member of our council, and we talked a lot about different instruments and how can we attract more young people. So, Meena, I'd like to ask you the following. How a bigger number of women in tech companies can affect, well, in general, can affect development of the industry? And what are the opportunities for young people?
Thank you so much, Alexander. It has been nice to be on the second time on the same forum. I would like to start with a video. Is it possible to show that? In the meantime, while she's preparing for the video, I would like to try to answer your question. Is importance of women. I think it's more about what is the workforce required in the industry. We are talking about industrial revolution once again, with not only nuclear, but the amount of infrastructure being created around the globe due to the various reasons we are talking about. So women and men are approximately 50% of the population. So the workforce has to be balanced as the light. Okay, when the video starts, maybe you can see the video and I can continue later on. So this is about Tata Motors facility in India in a city called Pune. So this is to show that, you know, what you want to do, you can. This is an all-woman facility making the car, which are big car, is our SUVs.
Whether at home or shop floor. We make engines for Tata cars. We press together to achieve better. I can build 5-star rating cars with my robots.
So you can see the big cars, all the shop floor, everything is by women here. So maybe in the interest of the time, we can stop the video. Okay, so coming back on that, so you can see that, the video was to show that it all depends upon what we want to do. So what inspires you, what you want to be, that's important. And whether it's a car or it's a miniature semiconductor device, it can be done. So about the workforce, it is the women and the men in the population is 50%. So if we have to achieve our targets of any projects or the development, it is important to have the same number of workforce. So I don't say it's a man or a woman, but it is because currently the women workforce is less in the technical and the infrastructure and the engineering sector. I think the development, the economic development is not to that level. So it is important for a society to develop that women are there. And honestly, I thought it's more it was for the mentoring session. So I have a very quick few words for the young students sitting here. So I expect the boys sitting here also gets inspired. So what you need to be is, I think, is a 12 rules for me is that you become the best version of yourself. There is only one you. understand that what makes you unique. So go after what you want, not what the society wants, and don't be afraid of change. That's the only thing which is permanent. I wanted to be a businesswoman, but then I turned up to be doing engineering because that's what my parent wanted. But now I run a successful business in India, so I think that's the change. So you can change your life as and when it is permanent. Give wings your dreams. Never go grab the opportunities what are there. Don't settle for less. And don't apologize for your ambition. Someone says, oh, you're very ambitious. No, you don't need to be. Don't be apologetic. Have an ambition. Go for it. Be greedy. Dreams can never be big or small. You have to be hungry to pursue your ambitions. So you have to be greedy. Never settle for less. Do not compromise. So don't live by someone else's benchmark. You have to set your own benchmark. And don't worry about the failures. Failures will happen. That's a part of the thing. And you don't need to hate yourself. Learn from the failure. Move ahead. And be bold. Take calculated risk. Never think that, okay, whether what will happen, what someone will say. You have to be bold enough to take your decisions. And surround yourself with positive people. There will be all kind of people, but you need to surround yourself with bold people, positive people, whether it is the colleagues, friends, or family. And then accept it that you cannot please everyone. So you have to do what makes you happy, but not by making other person unhappy, but then have a stability into that, have a balance in that. Don't take yourself too seriously. Life is not a rocket science only, so enjoy, take a break, and do it. Give back to the society once you have reached to a level. It is very, very important what you learn. You have to give it back to the society. And don't forget your roots. I think it's very, very important that in the purpose of running and achieving our ambitions and goals, we lose our own self. It is not about fighting for a place or trying to be, okay, I want to be like a man or I want to be like a particular person. No, it's not about that. That's what I started it with. It is important to be yourself. What makes you happy? So don't forget your wings. Don't forget your roots. Be attached to it. Society can only be run when there is a balance between men and women, whether it is about the professional world, it is about the personal life, or it is about the society. So we need a balance, and I think that is more important. Thank you.
Мину, спасибо большое.
Mino, thank you very much for this emotional speech and very, very beautiful video on how you support women's leadership in your company and those nice faces of ladies who select this type of job for themselves. And continuing with international cooperation, I would like to introduce our next speaker, also a good friend of our community. So this is a great panel indeed. We are all from the ecosystem of our women's dialogue. Anastasia Minina, Prorector on International Activities of LETI. Anastasia is implementing a lot of educational projects for students, especially a new focus is African continent. And Anastasia, I would ask you to speak more about it. Where do you focus in implementation of your educational program for international students? Thank you very much. For me, indeed, this is a great pleasure to be here today. Thank you very much, Alexandra and State Corporation Rosatom, for inviting me to this panel. And today, I'm going to speak mostly about the opportunities that exist for students and for school children who enter the university, and in the current conditions, despite all limitations around, and despite all that, there are a lot of opportunities anyway, and we need to speak about them and involve girls and women into various industries. For me, I have been for 20 years in international cooperation and education. I'm a PhD in technical sciences. One of the projects that seems very important to me is as follows. I was the first woman to chair the enrollment committee in our university, first in more than 100 years. We developed a lot of programs to support school children. I worked for Resource Center for School Technopark Kudrovo in the Leningrad region, and I implemented a number of projects in supporting school children in their career guidance. And together with the community, we discussed it widely. I see interest among moms and girls and parents who are thinking about their children in this respect. So, chairing international activities, I am the first pro-rector to chair international activities in our university. So we can speak about a lot of things, but now speaking about, I'm working in bringing together business and science and educational initiatives, and I am an ambassador of additional education. About our university, we are 138 years this year. One of the founders of the university is Professor Popov, the inventor of radio, and a lot of Nobel laureates studied and graduated from our university and worked for our university. And one of the areas we are actively positioning and promoting together with Rosatom is electronics. This is one of the priority areas for our university. We pay much attention to this area. And this year, together with the state corporation, we won a large project for advanced engineering school to teach our students within the framework of this area and a number of other areas. We can speak a lot. As for the university, we're not very large, 11,000 students, but 20% is international students, around 20%. And we are also focused on selecting them and promoting various projects and educational programs. So we develop programs together with businesses for our students to understand where they can go after they graduate and and where they can work. And we create projects abroad, which is also quite important for us, especially important. As for the balance between boys and girls, unfortunately, we're lagging behind the state corporation. You mentioned 38%. We are 36% of girls in our technical university. But anyway, I think that currently this is a meaningful indicator. A lot of girls are studying, and thanks to working with the women's community, more girls are involved into technical subjects, and we see that this is a current trend, and it is still here. Speaking about, next slide, please. Speaking about female scientists, I want to stress that many women, PhDs, doctors of sciences, candidates of sciences, chair and lead labs and various development areas. They also participate in mentoring sessions for girls, and they speak at conferences. And of course, we are very much focused on that, and we're supporting these girls and ladies. Next slide. How we attract students. It is important to speak about support. Again, starting with attracting within Olympics movement, scientific Olympics. We ensure international students come to Russia or students go to conferences. We are motivating them to be more successful in their studies and select Russian education and our university in their study. Next slide. Speaking about promotion of engineering education, then for Russian girls, we are making a number of events, for instance, IT girl parties, where we involve girls into complicated technical subjects like cybersecurity and various other IT areas, together with mentors and candidates, doctors of sciences. They make joint developments, and they discuss things and get involved into complicated technical disciplines. Next slide. Speaking about international promotion, it is important to say that our students have a lot of international opportunities. We focus on offering them internships, week internships, or a semester abroad, and the whole world is open. Despite the fact that a number of countries are not much ready to work with us today, but nevertheless they invite our students. Our students went to Vienna to IAEA conference arranged by Rosatom. So these girls are also active participants of other events and activities. Next slide. Speaking about our joint work with the state corporation Rosatom and the Women's Association. In 2022, previous nuclear forum, we signed the agreement on cooperation and had arranged a number of meetings and mentoring sessions. Next slide, please. One of such important events that happened in our university is an open dialogue as part of Russia-Africa Forum, where we accumulated a very prominent representation of female scientists from various countries of Africa and students from African universities, and discussed technological leadership and how girls can develop in technical spheres. Next slide, please. As for development of educational programs, I think I should touch upon it. We're focused on specific countries and specific businesses. Speaking about joint activities with Rosatom, one of the cases here is development of educational program New Generation for Electronic Parts Components Base in Electronics. The interest of the business was to work with specific countries: Malaysia, India, Vietnam, and Egypt. So from last year, we launched a master's degree with Malaysia and Egypt. And starting this year, we open a program together with a university from India. And for the future, we plan to cooperate with Vietnam. And also China is in the pool of the countries for our projects. Next slide. Supporting students, all female students who are active, who are actively studying and working, we try to support them. You see the cases. Last September, a large group of foreign students, international students, visited Obninsk New, a large festival arranged in Obninsk by our dear partners. In winter this year, they visited the winter school in Obninsk. So these two students, one from Tanzania, the other from the Philippines, just got back from Vienna and also participated and received the stipend of Marie Curie that supports the female community. This and promotes this stipend. More and more girls now want to participate in various events. So they see that there are opportunities like that, and the feedback is very positive from such visits, because such events allow them to talk directly to high-ranked speakers and those officials, heads of departments and units and companies. So that's very important for them. They always ask us, what is the next event? Where can we go next? Next slide. Speaking about international projects abroad, I need to speak about one case we launched in 2023, a joint institute together with our Chinese partners. We opened and enrolled around 230 students for 4 bachelor's programs with Suzhou University from China. We are cooperating with them for 15 years now. Next slide. And in order to So you see the scale of the arrangement. Chinese scale is always impressive. So our students have opportunities to visit this institute, and they can have additional educational programs and be part of mobility programs, and students are active in this. So all these opportunities are there, they are growing, and I hope that we will see more programs like that. Thank you very much for your attention. Next slide. I'm always happy to respond to questions, and I will welcome any type of cooperation. Anastasia, no doubt about that. Thank you very much. 2 points to mention. First, registration for all partners events with participation of Women's Association of Rosatom are available on all our platforms. You can join after registering. You can visit us offline or online and be enrolled into these activities. And please remember international opportunities when as part in the framework of initiatives from businesses or universities, you can find friends in other countries. And this is a very soft bridge to the next point. Now we're going into healthcare, high-tech healthcare, which is also part of STEM. Absolutely. So our next speaker is Ekaterina Glebova, Director for Social Projects of Group of Companies Medscan. Medscan is a dynamically developing company, one of the leaders of non-governmental sector in healthcare in Russia. I think Ekaterina will give us more on that in her speech. But please touch upon the social initiative that is supported by the company. I know it goes just from your soul, because you are very much inspired with this project. And I'm speaking about the Volunteer Center for International Students, just to follow the vector on international opportunities for you, our dear participants. Ekaterina, the floor is yours. Good afternoon. It's great to be here in such beautiful ladies' ambience, and I see some men in the room. That's also great. So we're speaking about mentoring, and this is a happy moment in lives of every person to meet a mentor. I'm a happy person because I met a great lady. She's been with me for 20 years now, and as Mina said, she is making every day. She is letting me be a better version of myself every day. But I don't want to speak about personal experience today, but the experience of our medical organization and what we do in terms of mentoring for younger generation. In today's challenges and limited opportunities for interaction between countries and nations, it's very important to promote humanitarian cooperation, because humanitarian cooperation allows us to maintain international dialogue. And that's why international students are an important category of people that allows us to interact with international citizens in the territory of our country. We have 300,000 international students in Russia, and according to the figures from the Ministry of Education, this figure grew plus 25% over recently. So the number of international students is growing. They are coming to our country, and the need in our professional education is there, and it is growing from one year to another.
I'd like to add to what we've already heard, all those examples, that the most effective instrument in working with foreign students is joint work, joint activity. That actually yields very positive results and gives positive emotions. So volunteership is the instrument to attract young people and give them a chance to find new friends, learn more about our country, and learn more about our traditions, because we know that when foreign students come to our country, oftentimes they don't speak Russian and start learning it right here. So we are here to help these people, help them learn more about Russian culture, Russian traditions, and we can arrange all that in our volunteer center. I represent medical business, and one of our goals is to create a training center, educational center for foreign students. 300,000 students from different countries who came to our country. More than 1,000 chose to go to medical science. Can I have a clicker, please? A couple of words about this center. Our center has been created about a year and a half in Skolkovo. I'm sorry, clicker is not working. Oh, thanks. So MedScan, that's what it's called, and it's a big medical hoarding that has a lot of medical organizations, departments, diagnostic, rehabilitation, and many other areas. We are represented in 33 regions, and this is our future plans. Next slide, because we're talking about foreign students after all. So in our Skolkovo cluster, we have this center located there. So why Skolkovo? Well, because according to the federal law 160, it is this particular territory that has this cluster that has the opportunity, unique opportunities that only such cluster can provide. In particular, I'm talking about medical business. For example, drugs or European standards for patients' treatment. And we tell young people everything we know, because this knowledge will become handy when they become professionals. And among everything else, what matters is culture, traditions of our country, new friends, communication. So to find the students, we talked to some of our students from the Sechenov Institute and some others. We told them about unique opportunities, what can they see, what can they get. And this is not practical training. I mean, it's different. It's volunteership together with other volunteers, part of this volunteer movement. Next slide, please. And next slide. So, apart from what I've already told you, there are some unique things, because there are a lot of events and students can participate in those events organized by Russian Red Cross and many other organizations. For example, some time ago they went to the hospital named after Sklifosovsky and celebrated the 8th of March, Women's Day there. So this is just an example of our work, and as you can see, students enjoy this. So we had a number of lectures for Muscovites in longevity centers, and one might think what students can actually tell you, but you know, those students are medics. They are doctors, so they already have some initial knowledge. So they gave some lectures, and they said to seniors that if you have something, if you have a spot on the body, you need to go to the doctor. Or if something's wrong, you need to go to the doctor. You need to take care of yourself, so on and so forth. They work with different categories of senior citizens. And last year, our students helped arrange an event for children with different diseases and illnesses. And actually, it's not only for children, because oftentimes children are in the hospital together with their parents. So we arrange shows, and we were really happy to see happy and smiling faces of these children. Next slide, please. Everyone is surprised, but look at the faces. They have a unique chance, well, just like all the volunteers of our movement. They have a chance to visit such events. For example, 23rd of February, that's last year, there was a concert, and President of the Russian Federation was there, President Putin. So not every citizen of our country has such a chance. And our students went there, and after that they were walking the streets with Russian flags, and it was a thrilling feeling They were so excited, they were so happy after this concert.
Еще.
Next slide.
Как я уже говорила ранее, ребята
Earlier I said that our students
в организации мероприятий с Российским Красным Крестом.
work together with the Russian Red Cross and participate in same events. There was one interesting case. Red Cross has requested an event to be organized for people from Afghanistan. They spoke only Farsi. So we found 2 girls who spoke Farsi. And actually, I forgot to mention the most important thing. We don't have that many students, about 40 students working in our center, but 40% are women. Because volunteers, it's mostly women. Volunteers movement has a lot of women. It has a woman's face. So here are some of our guys participating in different events for people with disabilities. When during this event, normal people without disabilities all of a sudden discovered talents they didn't know they had, and it was impossible to learn about it unless they were in such a situation. Next slide. Similar concert similar to 23rd of February, but this is 12th of June, Russia Day. So no need to say anything to comment because faces can speak for themselves. It's apparent what people feel. And many events were organized with the help and with the support of Rosatom. We organized events in Turkey, in Armenia. And our volunteers were able to participate in different events for people with disabilities or, for example, yacht race. And our volunteers participated in many events. So next slide, please. Well, very briefly, apart from medical skills that our students acquire, we have another very unique educational course for our students. And it's multifaceted, for example, how to interact with people with hearing disability or hearing impairment, or with people who have dementia or other diseases and illnesses. And this is all very interesting because people can learn about this online, and then if they come across such people, or if we need a specialist in this or that area, they can come to us. So I'm closing to an end of my presentation, and these are the projects that we are working on. And what matters to us is to have a community of graduates so that they'll be positive, they be traveling around the world, they be telling other people what it's like to be a volunteer. And such events are really good because in theory, our volunteers, our students will understand more, and probably in the future they will reject the negative information that they hear in other countries, for example, so they might even become our ambassadors. Thank you. Actually, volunteership topic is not exhausted. We haven't exhausted yet, and I think we have gazillions of opportunities everywhere, and we can see that. And we can see it in companies, we see some individual examples. And today, here with us, we have a volunteer, Promotive Science. And I'm happy to represent Amanda Bailey, Deputy Director of the Africa for Atom Project. Amanda is head of the project, and she is the representative of South Africa. She represents women and young people. Amanda, what do you think young women, young girls can actually enjoy mentorship and information propaganda to achieve equal opportunities in STEM and see positive changes in the society?
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to greet our chair, greet the audience, and greet my fellow speakers. And I'd like to thank Win Russia for inviting me to be a speaker here as a volunteer. May I please have a repetition of the question? I could not hear the translation properly.
Можно нам включить перевод, пожалуйста?
Do you have a translation? This is English channel.
Yes, I have it.
Сейчас нам включит перевод. Аманда, я...
So, Amanda, I repeat my question. Could you please share your views, your opinion, how young women can enjoy mentorship and information propaganda to achieve equal opportunities in STEM?
Okay, thank you very much for the repetition.
No problem.
Yes. I would like to first give a brief about my career path. Currently working as a nuclear technologies market analyst manager. But how did I start? How did I even get into the nuclear industry? And this is the case for most African people or boys or girls, and it's worse for girls. They find themselves in the nuclear industry by chance because maybe there's a high rate of unemployment. So as you move through life and then you realize you bump into a nuclear person and then you are introduced to nuclear, but it is not as available as it is probably in other countries. And so I started, I was in a conference in Johannesburg, and then I met, there was an exhibition there from nuclear people, from NEXA in particular. As they were exhibiting, I had to remember something I know about nuclear because I had forgotten it. That's how scarce nuclear information is in my country. And the only time I remembered, it was just one module in my undergrad that spoke of tracing radio elements underground for groundwater time residency calculations. And then I started engaging them on this topic of nuclear, and that's how they then said, oh, we need you because in the back end of the nuclear fuel cycle, we don't have as many people that present this information and that are actually specialists in the back end, particularly the geologists. People are more exposed on being engineers in the front end and working in the nuclear plant, but there's normally a lack of people in the back end. So I was then invited to join as a volunteer and a science communicator volunteer. And I was working as a visitor center as a result. And then how was my experience as I was working there? I can tell you that I enjoyed giving information about nuclear because I had to teach myself nuclear immensely as I was there since I was coming from a non-nuclear background. And I had to teach myself, and after teaching myself, I'd receive there'll be a group of students coming in to the visitor center. And then I realized that visitor centers play a huge role in terms of nuclear communications, in terms of inviting students or inviting kids into the nuclear space, and particularly in the STEM field. So as I was engaging with students, that's when it was for them. It was the first time that they heard the word nuclear, and I realized also that it is important that we make nuclear not an elite thing, especially in Africa. People have no clue about it, so make it relatable. Tell them about things tell them that it's day to day for them. Tell them examples of that bananas are radioactive so that they get accustomed to the terms of nuclear. Because all they know, if they have any information, they only know of bombs, but they don't know of how it impacts their life, how it can advance their life, and how it can develop their lives. So that was the technique that I used, that I have to make it relatable to them. Tell them about the nuclear medicine, how it can assist in their lives, how it can assist their grandparents, because their grandparents, you find that they have cancer, but they don't know what to do with, they don't know that we produce nuclear medicine in South Africa that can actually help them diagnose these diseases early. So we need to make nuclear very relatable to the public, particularly in Africa. And part of our plans as Africa for Nuclear, we have divided women in STEM into 3 parts. So we have the front end, women in nuclear, we have the medium group, and then we have the back end. The front end will be the learners in elementary school, the learners in high school, and those are the ones that we need to practically go to their schools and engage them and introduce them to the field of nuclear and in STEM subjects. And then that speaks also to engaging government as to how do they introduce nuclear topics in the STEM subjects at high school, so that kids can have an opportunity to select relevant subjects, but also select careers based on all the information being at their disposal. Because now, when you get to high school, to varsity, people have already selected their careers. They want to be doctors. They want to be anything but nuclear because they were never introduced to those topics. And then when we come to the mid group of women in STEM, we've partnered with Women in Nuclear Young Generation, where we have a project we call Winspire. We go to universities and we deliver topics. We deliver inspiring conversations to the women in universities, and to make sure that they are aware of how they can mix how can they mix their undergrad degrees that are non-nuclear with information on nuclear and actually become nuclear specialists in their future. And then we have the back end. Now we also have those women, those students in varsities. We also want to bring them to a project we call boardroom, Girls in the Boardroom, whereby we are developing their soft skills that targets women that are already in the nuclear industry, but they are simply just scientists and engineers. How do we make sure that we prepare them for positions that we want them to take space in leadership positions? So we aim to develop their soft skills and to make sure that we have competent leaders that have both technical skills but managerial and soft skills in the industry. And the back end, we're talking about the women that are seasoned now, and how do we use, or how do we work with the women that are already seasoned to impact back information and knowledge to those that are we're still trying to recruit in the industry. And last year, as we attended COP28, there was the biggest milestone of tripling nuclear. And if we have to triple nuclear, we're going to need a huge workforce to work in the industry. And as a result, we will need to be very aggressive with our plans of rolling out these projects on how do we recruit more women in the industry. And we have to use facilities like your social media facilities. That's where we meet these young people mostly. I'll make an example of one of our lead in the team. She's 19 years old. How did she find us? She saw a TikTok video by Princess Mtombeni, and then she reached out to say, oh, I'm interested in this information. How can I be part of the industry? So we then brought her in to be part of our team. And the most interesting thing about having this young leader in our team is because she can be the gap, she can bridge the gap that we have. We don't understand really how the millennials talk. I'm not a millennial. I know I look like one. We have to bridge a gap on how the millennials talk. So she can talk to her peers more effectively than we can as adults. And so it is such platforms that we have to use, and we provide through YouTube, through all social media platforms, we provide information that is credible and information that's more factual, so that we can attract all this young generation. And we have to be simple people and not look like we are untouchable. So we try by all means to relate to people in our context in Africa, and we attract all these groups of people. And as I was also in COP, something that we targeted, we're like, okay, we are talking to the students and the learners and stuff, but we need people in the top positions to make sure that the ground is fertile. So we were targeting policymakers there to say, please open up spaces and please make the ground conducive for these people that we are bringing into the STEM, and have projects, because after training them, what do you do with them? We don't want to have people we train people in the nuclear industry or in the STEM projects, but they really don't have anything to do after they've graduated. So we need to make sure that we have a balance between the outputs and the inputs of these skills that we build as an industry. Thank you.
Amanda, спасибо большое за вашу...
Amanda, thank you very much for your endless energy. And from our side, we want ambassadors of nuclear education and ambassadors showing that in nuclear, that people should join nuclear sector. And you are a vivid example of such activities. Next expert who joined us in this very bright, interesting panel is Irina Minaila. head of a laboratory for ray therapy of oncology and medicine radiology center and the chief of staff specialist for ray therapy of the Republic of Belarus, the Ministry of Healthcare. We talked a little bit about healthcare already. Irina, what statistics data is available today in presence of women in leading roles in medical organizations in your country? And please share your experience. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much for this invitation, and I'm happy to be part of this very beautiful team of panelists. Thank you very much. The thing is that I think you are all aware that medicine has female face. I cannot say statistically whether it's right or wrong, but my experience working in medicine, in healthcare, is 40 years. And I want to say that in my experience, 2 ministers of healthcare of our country were women, very smart, very educated, those who led our medicine. And a lot of chief doctors in our country are ladies, and chief of departments for oncology, for instance, because I am a radiation oncologist and I'm mostly speaking about oncology and radiology. That's why, Alexandra, medicine has female face, yes. As for me, as I already said, I've been long in medicine sphere, though in my background I'm a pediatrician. But it so happened that I wanted to continue my education, and I joined the clinical radiology department in my university in the Republican Scientific and Practical Center for Oncology and Radiology, named after Alexandrov. This is the key institution in this area in our country, and we also have 12 other oncology centers where we offer surgery and ray therapy and other types of treatment for oncology diseases. Oncology services are wide in variety, and they are available for our citizens, for our nation. It is very important to start your learning from early ages. We have very good teachers, very good professors, doctors of sciences, and they gave us a lot. And young doctors, when you are 25, for instance, it was very interesting to get deeper into medicine, serious medicine, because oncology patient is a very serious patient. He or she should be treated in a very comprehensive way, because oncology and the key treatment methods are surgery, ray therapy, and radiology. So I selected ray therapy. My teacher was Professor Ms. Muravska, radiation oncologist, and she showed that this type of therapy is a discipline where you should know everything. X-ray therapy can go together with surgery before the treatment or after the treatment, or chemical X-ray therapy can be applied, or X-ray therapy can go independently. And sometimes this type of therapy, beam therapy, is applied when other types of treatment are not enough for a patient. And this amount of work, it is important that you get deeper into this profession, and this is very interesting for me and for my colleagues. If you are deep in this discipline, in this subject, you will develop it, and you will continue developing yourself. And knowing that the key point in ray therapy is maximum impact on tumor and minimal impact on healthy tissues around it. Today, X-ray therapy is a high-tech subject.
Знаете, что
You know that
мы используем достаточно
we use
технику
such method
соприкосновения с Росатомом.
why we are actually interacting with Rosatom, because we are interested in radiotherapy
Аппаратах, как линейные
equipment like linear accelerators, brachytherapy equipment. And at this Congress,
беседы именно о
we discussed the development of equipment for X-ray therapy. I cannot say that in my career initially I had a specific goal. I worked, I studied, I defended my PhD, and my career went simultaneously. Because I started as a junior scientific fellow, then senior, then leading fellow, and then I became the chair of the Department for X-ray Therapy. That's why I'm very happy that I participate this magnificent forum.
соприкосновения с
And since we have contact points with Rosatom in radiotherapy equipment, we also discussed today setting up a center for radiomedicine. I think that I will continue my learning and my career will also grow in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Irina. Indeed, specialization in nuclear medicine is a profession for the future. Many countries are interested in transfer of technologies in this area, and it means that the talents should be trained, the talents for a long-term perspective. We have to start the trainings now, and that's why what Irina was talking about when we look into specializations in healthcare, that's exactly that experience that is relevant. So the closing presentation to stop our dialogue before new meetings are arranged. So I'd ask Vera Upirova, Chief Manager of Project Office for Development of Education and International Cooperation of State Corporation Rosatom. Vera, please tell us about programs for support of ladies in nuclear sciences. What are your results and what are your partners? Good afternoon, dear colleagues, dear guests. First of all, thank you very much for this invitation. I'm very happy to be part of your roundtable today. Very briefly, I want to speak about what we are doing in order to support women in nuclear sciences. Next slide, please. In order to speak in more details, I would like to start with what you probably know. Without me, Rosatom today is one of the leaders in the international market of nuclear power, and we have vast experience of operating various facilities of nuclear power, starting building power stations, unique research centers, radiation centers, production of isotopes, and also nuclear ice-breaking fleet is also operated by Rosatom, the only one in the world. We are proud that our projects are implemented in Russia and abroad, and success of any project depends on people. First of all, that's why we are very serious about training our talents. And over recent 12 years, we set up an educational ecosystem that starts with middle school, where we start supporting school children, and then we work with colleges, with universities, both in Russia and abroad. And we have a system of education, lifelong learning, Corporate Academy of Rosatom, Technical Academy of Rosatom, offering a scope of programs for improvement of qualification in order so that our colleagues abroad can develop constantly. Next slide. More details about our cooperation with universities. Rosatom has 20 partner universities, the leading universities of Russia, starting from MIFI and Moscow Energy Institute, St. Pete Polytechnic University, named after Peter the Great, Nizhny Novgorod Technical University, and many more. And we are cooperating with them in four key areas. First, training international students in Russian universities in various areas, and also inter-university cooperation through joint educational programs and opening the branches and also offer programs for improvement of qualification and support the network cooperation. So speaking about preparing international students in Russia, every student who comes to us within Rosatom is joining us with the state stipend. So we have quotas for international partners. Students can be trained in our universities. More than 60,000 students are here in Russia from a lot of countries in the world, and they have internships in our training centers and our producing facilities. And more than 700 alumni graduates joined various programs and they work in nuclear infrastructure of their countries. Next slide. So when in 2020, Director General of IAEA, Rafael Grossi, offered an initiative saying that we need to support the ladies in nuclear sciences and technologies, and Maria Skłodowska Curie program was launched for girls in the master's programs. We immediately, from Russia, represented by Rosatom in IAEA, we immediately started support for this program. We have a special status in it. We have in-kind contribution in this program. This is a specific status for us. What does it mean? From students who study in our universities, we will involve all ladies who are trained in master's programs to become part of our program. First, it was a challenge for us because so these ladies have stipend from the Russian Federation. They're here, they're learning, but they didn't know why applying for IAEA on IAEA website, but they realized what benefits it gives them. Participation in our sectoral events and internships in IAEA after they finished their master's programs. And Rosatom thought that this is not enough and we need to support these girls. And we started 2 years ago, we started paying them stipends from Rosatom for them to feel comfortable in Russia. Next slide, please. So the procedure looks quite simple. Rosatom nominates students, female students in master's programs according to quota, and technical committee of IAEA make a selection among these ladies and sends us a list of those who are selected for this particular year, and we start paying them additional stipend. And at the same time, we're monitoring their performance so that they have good marks and also participate in our events. Next slide. So today we can proudly say that in recent 4 years we have 38 stipend receivers according to Maria Skłodowska Curie program from 17 countries of the world, from Serbia, from Cambodia, from Nicaragua, Senegal, Egypt, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and many more. 15 acting stipend holders who are now students of Russian universities. Others finish their education and work at home. And many girls work in the framework of national nuclear programs in Rupur, in Akuyu, in Turkey. Some continue their scientific career, and the majority of them went through internships in the agency in Vienna, and they are happy that they had such an opportunity. Next slide. We also involve ladies to various events within the framework of Association of Women in Nuclear Sector. Thank you very much to the association. Next slide. For the girls, we arrange mentoring sessions where we speak about careers of women in nuclear sector, show success stories and how they can develop themselves in the future. Next slide. And on the 8th of March this year, all participants, graduates and current stipend receivers of the program participated in a large event in IAEA that was dedicated to International Women's Day. It brought together more than 400 participants from various countries of the world. Special career events were arranged, speaking about how they can develop themselves in the nuclear sector. And of course, we participated in this event and invited all all participants, and we welcome all of you for celebration of 70 years of the first nuclear station in Obninsk. Large events in summer. In June, we will host a lot of events. We will offer a school for girls in Obninsk. You are all welcome. You can scan the QR code and apply for this summer school. Within the framework of this program, we will offer 15 stipends for the most motivated ladies to ensure that you come to Obninsk and join us. Thank you very much for your attention. If any questions, I will be happy to answer. Thank you very much. Great opportunity for our participants of this mentoring session. Vera, thank you very much for this initiative. You know, there is an opinion that one mentor can substitute 500 books, but the stories of our panelists prove the point, and that's the mentoring, the ideas that will continue developing in minds and hearts of our participants. So here we finish our international mentoring session. Women in STEM, thank you very much.